Okay, so this has been one of my favorite games of all time, the Phantasy Star series. Now this particular one is actually a fan remake of Phantasy Star 2. This is actually playing on a PlayStation 2 emulator. And the reason that it's kind of neat is because it's the same storyline and everything, but they've updated the graphics, and the gameplay is a little bit different. With the Sega Master System, it was a little bit more grainy. You know, you could only move up, down, left, and right. You couldn't do any diagonals, but in this one you can do a few diagonals. Yeah, I didn't figure out for a minute that you can skip the longer text scenes or make the text display faster by hitting the right bumper, at least on the joystick that I was using. So I may end up having to cut a little bit of sound, but we'll see. And as you can see, this is definitely not Sega Master System graphics. But this was really a wonderful game. Phantasy Star 1 was on the Master System. I'm sorry, Phantasy Star 2 was on the Genesis. Phantasy Star 1 was on the Master System. But either way, these are definitely not 16-bit graphics either. So this is the very beginning of the game. You get to talk to the governor. He says there's problems in the world. And it's funny too, because typically I complain about videos that are just people talking about a video game, and here I am doing one. Nonetheless, that original audio has not changed. This particular audio that's playing is exactly the same as it was. Now pretty soon he's going to go back to his house, and he's going to find Ni or Nai, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, N-E-I, longtime favorite character. I suppose it's worthy of letting this actually play through, because it's the very beginning of the game. If you were to skip any of this, you'd definitely be lost, at least for a minute, until you Googled something, of course. And when this came out, you know, when I was like 12 years old, there was no Google. You know, it was like schoolyard talk. Maybe one of your buddies had the game and he had an idea how to get through, you know, a level or two. The original Phantasy Star was nearly impossible. In order to even find the last boss, you had to walk around in a circle in this dungeon and turn and look at a wall that was a solid wall when you saw it from the side view, but when you turned and looked at it, it actually became a door. Crazy stuff like that. I actually rebeat the Genesis version of this not too terribly long ago. But it was a wonderful series. You know, I'll never ever complain about it. A lot of people were into fantasy, or not Phantasy Star, but Final Fantasies. And, you know, they came out around the same. Now these scenes are definitely way better than the original right here. And she was some sort of an outcast for being not entirely human. Now this particular series is still going on even today. They have Phantasy Star Online 2, which is actually playable in Japan and other places. Of course, you can play it in the US using a little bit of help. See, now you can see the text is being sped up a little bit because I figured out that which button would cause the text to go by quickly. I may record more of this game. I just wanted to, you know, point out that it's one of my all-time favorites. If anybody shares the passion that I do for this series, this is definitely one of the worthwhile plays, because it's not exactly like it was 20 years ago. You know, it's got a updated feel to it. In fact, I heard about it myself on a Facebook post in one of the gaming groups that I'm in. They're like, hey, check out this remake. Beautiful. Even the layout of the city is exactly the same as it was in the original game. They just somehow updated the graphics. Not even sure how. The menu system changed just a little bit. Not much though. It's almost exactly as it was originally. So you got your hospital right there to cure people if they've been injured, and then the other one was actually the place where if somebody dies, you resurrect them. That's an item shop. I'm just walking around trying to get my bearings on the city again. One of the neat things actually about this is, in the original, when you left the city and then you re-entered the city, you would come in the same entrance every single time. Whereas in this version, if you come, like if you're walking towards the city and hit it from the north side, you'll come in the north gate and the other ones respectively. Yeah, one of the neat features of this one too, they actually made it so that who it was for would appear. I don't think it did that in the original. Nice little addition. And you can actually equip stuff in each hand. Pretty neat. I remember one of the characters, Rudo, always would have a shotgun, and it'd always take both hands, and only the coolest weapons would only take one hand, but they were never that important, or never that great, I mean. Now those emulators do support save states, but this is how you would have saved back in the day when when there was no emulators. Typically, I always save this game before I even head it out, because if you die in your first battle, you don't want to have to sit through all that crap again. And just like any other role-playing game in the world, guess what you got to do? You got to stay close to the town and run around and wait till you run into some monsters. Because you're a terrible weakling when you start out. I don't know what other role-playing games have this feature, but there's actually an automatic fight instead of having to choose who attacks what. You can just hit auto, and it's okay. I don't recommend it once you start getting later in the game, when the battles get even longer, because it takes a while for it to kick out. You know, it won't do the entire battle automatically, but it will do like 10 rounds in a row, in which case, you know, many times you'll just be dead. In the original game, these were the very first monsters that you faced. Now, when you head out of that first little, I guess you could call it like a spawn area, or safe haven near the city, once you get out across the bridge, everything else is vicious. You don't want to mess around out there. Same type of monsters. You'll run into like the same 4 or 5 monsters right around the city. That ant, the bee, the mosquito. There's one that was called fan bite, and in this one I think it's grass cutter or something like that. And I wouldn't even walk across that bridge until I was at least level 5. I don't know who of you have played this before, but a little bit of a spoiler. if you have played this before, you know that Nye, you don't have to worry about getting her levels up too high, because eventually she's no longer going to be part of your party. But everyone else, I believe, sticks around. Well, I think I'm actually going to stop recording here. I don't have much else to talk about the game. Awesome memory for me. I highly recommend this particular game, and playing it on the original system first, of course, so you can get the real feel for it in its original form, I guess you could say. Yeah, see, look, I was just about dead there. Alright, well, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.